I am, and I was, a supporter of the Lindsay Oil Refinery. I was also a major organiser of the engineering construction workers protest outside the Olympic Games and at Parliament, and I also stood for No to EU, Yes to Democracy in the South East region, to try to do something about the Labour Party. Try and do something about the Labour Party, the Portal Workers Directive, the Lisbon Treaty, and also Mr. Mandelson. Now, as an engineering construction worker, we are, as the two gentlemen in here with me, a very unique and a very one-off breed of people. We work in a very unique and a very strange world. We are a transient workforce. We will be working in Aberdeen one week and packing our bags to go to the next contract, and down in Cornwall the following week to spend 6 months down there, spending 3 weeks at a time away from our wives and children, and then going home for 3 days and then travelling all the way back again to do 3 more weeks. Now, it is a hard life, and all we are constantly getting so far from the employers is our terms and conditions constantly being squashed. Now, the Lindsay Oil Refinery came about to some degree over a large protest that had been going on from October, November last year, which saw British workers being excluded, and I mean excluded, not being given the opportunity to apply for employment within Great Britain. Now, these large multinational companies thought they saw fit of themselves to bring brothers from across mainland Europe into Britain and pay them a lesser wage than what they were paying us. Now, the employers therefore started the race to the bottom on the wage rate within the engineering construction industry, and we, for one, are not having it. Now, as some of you will probably ask myself and Keith later when we do the workshop, and also some of you have probably poised and seen it in the media, the British Jobs for British Workers slogan, which lately got took on by the bigots, and we've tried to get ourselves as far away as possible from it now. The BNP thought they could win votes by nicking our slogan. Gordon Brown announced to the nation that he would train British jobs for British workers. We are not by no means whatsoever against people from outside Britain coming to work in the UK. What we want is people who come into Britain from outside this country paid exactly the same terms and conditions as the rest of us.
Yet again on London Underground, getting into a dispute. We've kept a keen eye on what's been going on elsewhere, in Waterford, Vistian, Linamar, Lindsay, and it's obvious what's going on. There's a massive attack on our class, on the trade union movement. The background to the dispute is that a section of the engineering came back into London Underground from the private sector back into renationalised into the public sector, and obviously with the engineering section going back inside, there was job cuts which we knew, and they were obscured for quite some time. And the main aspects of our ballot were job security, pay cuts, and other bits and pieces that management are doing to wear us down. It's the public sector management I've got to add there. But also what it was about was that the recession being used as a smokescreen, which I'm very sure that other people can experience as well. Derecognition of the RMT. And basically they've been using union-busting firms, which I'm sure now are going to get a lot more work, and a tax on reps, and fundamentally also the right to ballot, to withdraw your labour, which if you lose that, basically you're nothing short of a slave, because only slaves can refuse to work. So that's a background there. There's another issue of the 2012 Olympics coming up, and them doing a preemptive blow against the tube workers, who obviously are going to be affected by that, by imposing a 5-year pay cut on us. So we've got into this dispute there. They from the outset they dragged things along and they tried to stall us down. I know Andrew has covered a lot of this, so I won't major on it. We had SCAB union leaders, but not members of other unions, which is important to underline. The HMRI, which is the railway wing of the Health and Safety Executive, we're not doing anything when an unsafe service is being run. And of course the Mayor and the GLA were there as well, who deployed the Met, the BT Police and the City of London Police. There's lots of bogus reports in the media about they managed to run a service, but it was basically, well, a bit of a wanky service, really. On the Victoria line, you got on a train at Victoria, and your next stop was Highbury and Islington, and you had to wait about 20 minutes for that, and basically no one even bothered using it. So that's what we're up against. There was lots of solidarity from other union members and from members of the public. Something that's been just touched on here, I think it's important to highlight, is the role of the support group. We've now got a support group which has had a small role, but now it's getting on its feet and is assisted with leafleting and so on and so forth. So, you know, solidarity for the general public, especially if you're a public service, is something that's crucial. The talks at ACAS haven't broken down. They've been going on now for the last week, but they are just crawling along, dragging along, and we know what management's game is. They're basically looking to drag out the dispute so that the membership goes off the boil, and you know, they're hoping it's going to go away. On our side of the coin, we are keen to set more strike dates in London Underground. However, we want to avoid more strike pay being lost, more pay being lost in the same pay packet. So there's a little bit of a delay there till we can announce strike dates. So we're dancing around each other a little bit. But I'm glad to tell you, apart from if you've got a user tube on the day, that there will be strike dates set very soon if London Underground management and whoever's sponsoring them don't pull their socks up.
Thank you. Just a quick one about the cleaners struggle on the underground. For 15 years, the cleaners on the underground were exploited. They were paid low wages for the terrible work they carry out on the underground. And after 15 years, our employers did not deem it fit to pay us, the London living wage. So the cleaners cried out and were organized by RMT. And then for the first time in the history of this country, the cleaners on the underground were balloted for a strike action. The cleaners unanimously voted for a strike action, and we took 2 days out. The first day, 24 hours, and then 2 days followed. We were called to a table talk in the ACAS meeting where we got the London living wage for September last year. So the cleaners on the underground, the Metroness cleaners, won the London living wage for £7.45 as against £5.35, for 15 years. And just because we got the £7.45, the cleaning bosses decided to, victimize the cleaners, particularly the reps and the activists. And we have situations where some of our activists who actively campaign for this London living wage were given a sack letter 2 days after the strike action. And some of them were suspended. And then the immigration were constantly used to harass, bully, and intimidate us, in order to shut us up. We have situations where immigration officers were called in to pick some of our cleaners on the pretense that their national insurance number were incorrect. These are numbers that were contributing to tax for 15 years. There was no question about it. Suddenly, when the cleaner said we deserve a little more than, we want just a little more of what we actually deserve, the immigration issue became, a weapon in the hands of our employers. We have instances where some of our reps were picked up and some were sacked on the basis of their national insurance number is untraceable. We condemn this act of using the immigration to try and divide us and undermine us.